Hey, health junkies! It's time for The Health Fix. Join your host, Dr. Janine Krause, as she gives you a dose of what you need to know and do right now to take control of your health from the inside out, to rebel against aging, look damn good, fight stress, and laugh every day.
Hey, health junkies, welcome to another episode of The Health Fix. I'm your host, Dr. Janine Krause. Today's episode, I have Dave Sherwin on the line. He is a certified fitness nutrition coach, entrepreneur, podcaster, and practitioner of mindfulness and meditation. He has used hard work, nutrition, supplementation, and science, you know that's my favorite, to obtain a high level of fitness in his own life. At the age of 47, he qualified for and competed in the Triathlon Olympic Distance National Championships in Vermont and finished in the top 25% of all competitors. He completed a Spartan Beast in 4 hours, and last year, at the age of 52, he set a personal best 405-pound deadlift. That is not easy to do. He is also an avid golfer with a single-digit handicap. Also impressive. He is the owner of Dirobi.com, a wellness site where he sells his own line of supplements, including some bestsellers we are going to be talking about today. So Dave, thank you so much for coming on The Health Fix.
I'm excited to be here. Thanks so much.
So, you've got quite an impressive history of killing it in the over 40 age group, which would be known as kind of the masters group. What got you started on this road?
Well, we have to go way back for that. I was a very shy, abnormally shy kid. I was afraid of talking to new people. I was really introverted. I was super skinny, unathletic. And in elementary school, you know, when they started introducing you to sports and athletics, for me that was all embarrassing. You know, I wasn't very good at anything, couldn't run, couldn't jump. And finally my friends started playing basketball, and they wanted me to play basketball. And again, I was so awkward and uncoordinated that I wasn't very good at it. But one day on the low hoops of the elementary school, they were all trying to dunk a tennis ball. And I was a little bit taller than the other kids. I found out I could dunk the tennis ball. And so that was like my first kind of athletic achievement, so to speak. And it kind of got me hooked on basketball. And so I just started really, really working hard. I just started trying and playing. And for me, it was just, you know, figuring out that I could actually do one thing that my friends couldn't do. That got me motivated, and then I just kept on working on it. Eventually, I actually made the high school basketball team, which was a big deal. I was never actually that good, but athletics helped me as a teen to overcome being painfully shy and uncoordinated and unathletic, and to give me some self-confidence. And so I just, you know, one little bit at a time, was able to develop some athleticism, develop some strength, be able to jump and move and get coordinated. And so it all started with that. And then from there, I just carried on. I just kept on, you know, trying to stay in shape. And then I just, over time, got more and more interested, read books about diet and nutrition. So for me, it was a very slight edge kind of a thing. I was definitely not genetically very athletic. It was just really finding something I was passionate about and then working away at it over time.
Nice. I mean, I think that's a big thing for a lot of folks to hear, because a lot of us are intimidated when we don't have athletic abilities, and you're surrounded by folks who do, or maybe you're in your head thinking like, oh my gosh, everyone's amazing at this stuff and I'm not that great. And I think that's one of the big things that keeps people from even going into gyms or participating in athletic like sports. There's kind of that big concept of, oh, I don't know if I can do this, but finding the little wins. So huge. Is that something that you find yourself focusing on with your clients, getting little wins so that you just keep building up?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, the book, The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson, to me is a life-changing book. I highly recommend it to anybody. Yes, I was surprised to learn once I got into the health profession and got my certification and learned more about it, just how many people were like me, unathletic, but never really overcame it. A lot of people get to be in their 20s, 30s, 40s, and never really develop a health habit, and at some point decide that they want to, whether it's a negative health event, maybe even a mild heart attack or something that happens to someone along the way, and suddenly they're motivated to do something they've never done before. And so sometimes it's the nasty wake-up call in midlife, but for whatever reason, there's quite a large group of people out there that really have never been athletic, and maybe even mocked the jock crowd. You know, maybe they're the intellectuals, the honor roll kids, and you know, you have kind of, if you go back into high school, elementary school, you kind of have that divide between the athletes and the non-athletes. I think is still prevalent in society.
Oh yeah.
And so I think, yeah, it can be deep, like psychologically, there can be some scarring there. There can be a lot of things a person has to overcome to suddenly, you know, adopt a whole new mindset of health if they've never had it before.
Oh, for sure, for sure. I think a lot of what we do as either doctors or fitness professionals, coaches, it's really the psychology behind, you know, what's happened to someone over time and what are their perceived barriers versus their actual barriers.
That, yes, absolutely. And another thing I found that a lot of people just never thought of for some reason is those people trying to overcome that hurdle sometimes just don't think through that they don't have to do what everyone else is doing. A lot of people just don't take the time to sit down and go, okay, I need to get control of my health. What is it I really like to do? Sometimes they just have this mental image in their mind that they have to go out and buy themselves, you know, workout clothes and go to the gym, which is a super uncomfortable situation for them, and do stuff that they don't want to do. It's really not the case. They can sit down and go, what would I be good at? What's something I've always wanted to try? What sport have I seen on TV that looks fun? And so surprisingly, I found with a lot of my clients that when we have that conversation, they're like, oh, so I don't just have to go get a gym membership. I can actually start with hiking. And I'm like, yes, you can actually just start with hiking. If that's what floats your boat, let's do that. If you have no interest in going to the gym, you don't have to go to the gym. And so a lot of times that's a revelation for people because they have this image in their mind that there's a certain activity or they have to go to the gym to get in shape. And that's just not the case. They can just pick something that really makes their heart sing and go do that. And oftentimes that's all a person really needs to know to get on this track.
I love that. I love that. Making your heart sing because, yeah, so many people, I mean, that's something I see in my practice all the time. And they're like, well, I'm not going to the gym. That's not for me. And I'm not playing baseball. And I'm definitely not doing CrossFit. And, you know, I say to a lot of folks, you know, you see all of the sexy moves on Instagram and things that go viral. You know, that's not what you have to do. Those are what's working for those people. We're not a one-size-fits-all population. We're a one-size-fits-one. So yeah, finding what makes your heart sing, finding what you like to do, exploring what fits well with you. So huge. So huge. So
yeah, for a lot of people, that's the key to the lock right there.
It's true. It's true. So now, as a certified fitness nutrition coach, you've helped a lot of people make some significant changes. One of them being just getting them to move a little bit more. But there's also some big wins that you've had by having folks focus on 7 principles. I would like to dive into those today to share with my audience a little bit about what works and how to tailor these in to their individual lifestyles. And of course, the first one that you have on the principles is one of the big things I notice in my practice helping folks on their way to optimal health journeys is that folks might track what they eat and they might track certain activities, but they sometimes forget liquid calories. And then, of course, there's the folks that remember liquid calories and try to do the hacks around things such as alcohol. So what's your take on liquid calories?
Okay, so generally speaking, you want to try to not drink any calories, because the fact is, this is what derails a lot of people's health journey. When we're eating, we can only eat so much food before we're full. But the fact is, if we're drinking high-calorie drinks, you can down a lot of calories along with that meal that just is piling on empty calories that's helping you gain that weight that you don't want to gain. And so, corollary to that, most people are chronically dehydrated. And it only takes a little bit of dehydration to seriously affect performance. If you're dealing with brain fog in the afternoon, if you're not sleeping very well, if you're lethargic in the gym, if you're just generally not performing well, a lot of times it's because you're a little bit dehydrated. You're not going to be able to think your best. You're not going to be able to perform your best. And a lot of the drinks that we do drink, like coffee, for example, is a diuretic. It makes us want to pee, which means that we're peeing more than we've taken in, and then we are, again, dehydrated. So a lot of us use caffeine, and caffeine's a diuretic. And so you have to really be careful. If you're starting your day with a cup of coffee, you've got to be overly, you got to really be careful to make sure and drink a lot of water to follow up on that. It's the same with all these energy drinks. A lot of people like energy drinks, including myself. I don't mind an energy drink now and then. But the problem is that, again, it's a diuretic. It's dehydrating you. So we're just not drinking enough water is the bottom line. So if the number one health change a person can make is to drink less calories and way up their water intake. If you're not carrying your water bottle around with you everywhere you go, there's a good chance you're dehydrated. And so get yourself a good insulated water bottle that'll keep the water cool if you like it cool or whatever temperature you want, and carry it around with you, and make your go-to drink water. That's one of the biggest habits a person can adopt to improve their health.
I can absolutely agree with that, because it seems like such a simple change. And a lot of people oftentimes are like, that can't be what's wrong with me. It can't be what's wrong with me. And we up their water, we get them with their water bottle, and it's shocking. They're like, wow, I don't have brain fog. Like you said, oh, I can poop better. Oh my gosh. Yeah, water. Impressive.
Absolutely. I mean, so many people are like I said, chronically dehydrated. Constipation is a major problem in our society. We wouldn't think that because no one shares that with their friends. Like, hey, I'm super constipated today. How are you? I mean, that just doesn't come up. But when they go to their doctor, I promise you, I just had a doctor on my podcast who was talking about this and how many people are constantly constipated. And one of those reasons is because they're not hydrated. So that by far is the number one biggest thing people can do to improve their health if they're not doing it right now. And then the other thing is, I'd say with all of these things, these are guidelines, not rules. It's not like you can never have, a drink of alcohol on a Friday night. It's not like you can never have a juice or something tasty. It's just that the vast majority of what we should be drinking is water. That's just the bottom line. And don't be deceived by supposed health drinks. The fact is, most commercially manufactured juices are simply just sugar water, and it's kind of a crime that the food manufacturers are allowed to call some things juice, because they're not fruit juice. They're fruit flavor with a bunch of sugar. And so you got to read your labels. You got to understand when you're just drinking corn syrup, and generally speaking, just drink less manufactured stuff and drink more water. And that's really as simple as it gets. And like you mentioned, this is a health change most people don't think of. They or worse, they think they're already good at it, but they're not. So many people, I say, do you drink a lot of water? Oh yeah, I drink a ton of water. A simple test for that is, when's the last time you had to pee so badly you couldn't think of anything else? You just had to go, right? If you haven't had that feeling in the last week or two, you're probably not drinking enough water, because if you're drinking enough water, occasionally you're going to drink a little too much water, and you're going to have to pee. This is the bummer. This is why some people don't drink enough water, is because they don't want to have to pee all the time. But the fact is, that's just how our body is designed to work. We drink water, we pee a little bit later, right? And that's just flushing out our body. It's getting rid of toxins. It's hydrating all of the cells. And so that is a quick test. You may not like to hear that, But the fact is, there are times where you've just got to have that sensation of really needing to pee because you've got lots of water in your system. If you're never having that feeling, there's a very good chance you're not hydrated.
I like that one. I've not thought about that one. So yeah, we're definitely going to be implementing that test in my office for sure. So the next principle is time-restricted feeding is what I've got here. And I think right now, intermittent fasting is all the rage. A lot of folks are talking about it. But I'd like to hear your take on it and what you've seen success with time-restricted feeding.
It absolutely is the rage. We're in the early stages of the science behind this, and so I think some people are going a little bit overboard with their claims. In the end, being your own personal experiment and doing this for yourself is going to be more important than any of the research that's being done out there. But generally speaking, and I've been doing this for 2 years, and I've been eating within a roughly 8-hour window. Now, for women, they shouldn't make their window any less than 10 hours because they can run into hormone imbalances.
Thank you
what I highly
for saying
recommend
that.
is 8-hour windows for men, 10-hour windows for women. So let's say if you're female, you have your first meal at, let's say, 8 o'clock in the morning. But then you're not going to eat anything else after 6 p.m. that night, right? That's a 10-hour window. Mm-hmm. And, of course, you can shift that a little earlier or make it a little later. For some people, it simply means skipping breakfast. But generally speaking, the idea is to eat all of your calories in that window. Now, what happens is outside of that window, let's say you stopped eating at 6 p.m. Now, what happens is your body now has lots of time to digest your last meal. So by the time you go to bed, your hormones are in balance, your melatonin is high, you're more likely to have a really good night's sleep because your body isn't busy digesting. You're going to wake up in the morning, you're going to have high HGH. Both men and women are going to have elevated levels of testosterone, which really helps you if you're about to go to the gym, and you're going to have low blood sugar. That's a really terrific combination. And that combination is going to stay in place until you eat again. When you eat again, your blood sugar is going to rise, your HGH and your testosterone is going to lower, and you're going to go into your eating window where your body is going to start digesting the food and giving you all the energy that you need. Now, the reason why this is so magical is a couple reasons. One of the biggest ones is one that no one talks about, but that is that when you make a hard cutoff at 6 o'clock, 6:30, 7 o'clock at night, whatever works for you, think of the things you're not going to eat.
Oh, yeah. All of the sweets and treats that you could possibly come up with because you got to have your dessert.
Isn't that interesting? I had Craig Bongelli, the famous strength trainer from Canada, on my show, and he said one of the most profound things to me about this. He said, Dave, nobody craves broccoli at 8 o'clock at night.
True story. Yeah.
Right? What is it you crave at 8 o'clock at night? All the things you just said.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the biggest things of intermittent fasting is the fact that once you're done eating, you're done, and you're going to let your body go into that preparatory state for having a good night's sleep. Sleep is one of the biggest problems we have in our industrialized society. We have artificial lighting going late in the night. We're watching blue screen televisions. We're looking at our devices. All of these things are messing up our melatonin and our circadian rhythm. And so what we're doing is helping our body to prepare itself for sleep in a big way. We're not eating a lot of the junk food. I mean, a lot of people are now going to cut out 200, 300, maybe 800 calories that they would have consumed after dinner without even thinking about it. Mm-hmm. And so intermittent fasting is huge, and getting rid of junk food and giving our body a chance to run properly and have a healthy circadian rhythm.
I would agree with you on that. I think it's a very great way to help to not overeat and really get some wins for folks without having to do the talk of the diet and the details. It's an easy win for folks.
Yeah, there's that documentary Fasting on Amazon right now, and I had one of the stars of that, I guess, I don't know if stars is the way you would say it, but his name is Kevin Rail. He was featured on that, nice. And I had him on my podcast. And he made a pretty extraordinary claim. He said, I can't prove it, but I bet that the medical bills of the United States would drop 30% across the whole country if everyone did intermittent feeding for 1 year. I think he's right.
It would be very, very interesting because we're hitting a bunch of different things. We're not overloading our digestive system, so digestive complaints would improve. Insomnia, because we're not eating too late. Diabetes, cardiovascular disease. I mean, you've got 4 biggies right there, and I'm sure if I sat here long enough, I could probably tick off another 10. So, yeah, I would be curious to see if any of the health insurance conglomerates do any research on that.
There's a lot of research being done. There's a lot that's been done. Unfortunately, about 90% of the studies that have been done on men.
Yeah.
So we don't yet have enough evidence on how it works for women. As a matter of fact, this is one of the problems with a lot of health research. I don't know why this is, but most of health research is done on men. And then they come out on the radio and say, hey, this study was done, and it shows that if people do this, they will have this result. And it's completely misleading because they don't mention it was done on, for example, that thing I said about hormones. The research that has been done on women shows that a 6-hour eating window is a terrible idea for women. And yet there's a lot of 6-hour eating windows done on men that show it's a great idea. So if the study doesn't include women and they simply come out and go, hey, shorten your eating window even more, it'll be great for you. It's really misleading.
No, it definitely is. And some of the data, like you're mentioning for women in hypothyroidism, things of that nature, that also there's some interesting outcomes with keeping the windows too short and definitely messing with the thyroid hormones. So I think there are some caveats to kind of look at with this. Also, the concept of eating disorders, let's put it that way, because fasting for those who are not healthy in their mind about how they eat can really create somewhat of a monster. And in females in particular, it is one of the things I have to watch if I'm going to recommend food windows. It's one of those things, if they're talking to themselves and saying, oh, I fasted yesterday, I can eat more today, this is a problem, and it's something to screen and watch out for. So I definitely will be curious to see what some of the future data is coming out, especially on women with eating disorders and restricted feeding. So for those of you out there who are suffering with an eating disorder, time-restricted feeding might be something that is not for you right at this moment, but could be over time.
Great advice. Again, all this stuff we're giving for information, you really ought to have a health professional in your corner who knows you and your situation, who can advise you on this. I will say that with that being said, for most people, unless you're the exception to the rule, eating in an 8-hour window is perfectly natural. It's what your body is used to. It's what evolution has it's what's happened in evolution. It wasn't very long ago that humankind did not have refrigerators and couldn't go have a midnight snack out of the refrigerator. It just wasn't possible. This has only been possible for a couple of very, very short generations. What we're really designed for, and the way we're designed to eat and the way we're designed to move, was generated over over eons in hunter-gatherer societies, where they simply didn't have refrigeration, right? And so the natural order and what we're designed and do best with is to eat during, when the sun is up and what's available and fresh right then. So generally speaking, this is lining up with nature pretty closely. So it's very few people that will go wrong from adopting this habit.
Absolutely. 100% agree. Now, your next principle is one that I absolutely subscribe to with my patients and really try to work on this, even myself. And what you've got there is eating all food very slowly and mindfully. Because I think a lot of people are eating from a drive from one place to the other, have no idea what they just put in their mouth, or they're eating while multitasking at their desk. At one point, I saw a study that said the average American takes 7 chews and swallows after a bite. that's not enough. So talk to us a little bit more about what you've seen with eating food slowly. How many chews should someone have with each bite? What's your opinion?
Yeah, this is a really big point. As a matter of fact, my coaching certification is through Precision Nutrition, which is one of the most respected health certifications on the planet. And this is actually their number one. The number one thing they teach you to teach your clients is to eat all your food very slowly and very mindfully. Now, the science of this is that our stomach is not like a hole that food drops into. A lot of people picture it, especially if you've seen simple graphics on the wall of your doctor's office showing the digestive system. From the outside, the stomach looks kind of like a hole that food drops into from your mouth. It's not. It has folds in it. And as the food is working through the folds, the various enzymes and digestive elements are working into that food, and it takes time to do. When you pound food into your stomach, it doesn't have the chance to work the food through the folds, to work the enzymes into the food, which, by the way, start in your mouth. So let's start with the mouth. When you're chewing your food thoroughly, and by the way, really enjoying your food, let's face it, food is a pleasure of life. And ideally, food is not something we should have this lousy relationship with like many people do. Food should be a pleasure. When we sit down to eat, we should sit down to eat and take that food and absolutely enjoy it and mindfully eat every single bite and chew it all the way until it's thoroughly chewed and not lumpy, and the enzymes in our mouth are worked into that food, and then we swallow that food. And if we put our fork down and just take just a minute between bites, it's amazing how much more we can enjoy the food. And then it gets through our stomach and our digestive system properly, the way our stomach is designed. And the other thing is, there's a lag time between the stomach signaling to the brain that it's full. So when you eat too quickly, what's happening is you can eat too much food, but you don't feel full till a little bit later. This is why when we go out for a large meal, we often feel kind of bad, half an hour, 40 minutes after we started eating. There's about a 20-minute lag time from the stomach hormones signaling the brain that the stomach is full. And so for all of these reasons, and not the smallest one being to actually enjoy what we eat, there's a few things you can do, like I mentioned. Put your fork down. You don't have to hold your fork in your hand like you're some kind of machine, and the objective is to get the whole plate of food into your mouth and into your stomach as fast as possible. Chew the food slowly and mindfully. I don't actually give out rules on how many chews. I know some people do that, and that could be very effective for people. I would say at the very least, at least count for a little while, maybe 20. 20 is something that I've heard other people recommend, but I don't like to give out numbers because, again, it makes it feel like we're a machine. We're not a machine. And all foods are different. So it kind of depends what you're eating. And so these are guidelines, not rules. You kind of will figure it out very quickly. If you simply commit to eat your food slowly and mindfully so that you enjoy it, so that you're taking enough time to actually set your fork down between bites. Maybe you're eating with other people, and so you can make it more conversational and less about stuffing the food down your mouth. You'll then eat less. Your body will process it better. You'll have less bloating and gas. And so there's all kinds of good things that happen when you eat slowly and mindfully.
Absolutely. Yeah, I couldn't have said it any better. So that leads you into your next principle very nicely, because we just talked about stuffing things in the hole in terms of portions, and the Precision Nutrition portions here in terms of their hand rules are something that I'm very familiar with, and I'd love for you to describe to folks what we're looking at in terms of portions and what the variance is between ladies and men.
Okay, so this is a really great rule. And again, when I say rule, this is more like Pirates of the Caribbean, guidelines, not rules, right? In all of this stuff, we don't want to get carried away. We want to follow them, generally speaking, as best we can and not have a big guilt trip because we felt like we didn't get it exactly right. Health isn't that way. Life isn't that way. But the general guideline here is that we should be getting protein about the size of our palm. So if you hold up your hand and you look at it and you imagine, say, a piece of chicken about the size of your palm, that's the right size of protein. Then if you close your fist, you ought to be getting carbs about that size. So for example, if you were to have chicken with potatoes or rice, you'd want the potatoes or rice to be about the size of your closed fist. Now, we all need healthy fats, and you can measure that about by the size of your thumb. And then if you hold out your hand, and we all ought to be eating more vegetables. And so a handful of veggies is what Precision Nutrition recommends, whether it's peas or carrots or kale or spinach or salad or whatever, an open handful. Now, if you do your best to have about that portion size and to get those elements as often as possible with every meal, you'll be doing a lot of good things for your body. First of all, we're in a carb-addicted society. Many people have a bowl of cereal and rush out the door to work or school, and it's all carbs. Very few people start the day with a healthy protein. Yeah. And generally speaking, we have way too many carbs, not enough protein. The fats that we get are generally not healthy. And so those are the changes you're wanting to shift. You're wanting to get healthy protein, healthy carbs, healthy fats, and 5 to 9 servings of veggies every single day. Now, this can get a little complex. You asked me to break it down for men or women. Well, one of the things about this for men and women that's really nice is the fact that it depends on the size of the man or the woman. So if you're a larger person, whether male or female, your hand will be larger. So this is giving you the right sizes for yourself. And then you also, if you really want to dial this in, you ought to understand your body type, whether you're an endomorph, mesomorph, or ectomorph, right? Those are the 3 basic different body styles. And so I've got a link on my blog for those of you interested in this. This information, if you go to our blog, blog.dirobi.com, and there'll be a link in the show notes here, so I won't, you can just click on that to get there. But this is worth spending a little time on. Mm-hmm. If you follow these basic rules, that's great. If you actually go to the detail of figuring out your body type and you actually think through how much you exercise, because an endomorph who is a power lifter is going to have different requirements than an ectomorph who's a marathon runner. And so you can really dial this in if you learn that level of detail. So generally speaking, go with the hand rules, and if you really want to take it to the next level, then do a little more research on that to really dial it in.
I like that. It's putting this back on the listener here, because if you've listened to any of my podcasts, you'll hear that I'm over and over again, get to know your body, get to know what works for you, because the one-size-fits-all thing does not work for everybody. So these hand rolls, you might find that you need a certain portion difference here, but it's a great guideline to get started, and I am full, 100% in to using the hand rolls even in my practice as well. So next principle is moving your body every day. And we were talking at the beginning of the podcast about finding something that brings you joy. Now, once you find that, I think the next biggest question that a lot of people ask me is, okay, how many minutes do I need to do that thing? And they only think of just that thing. What about the rest of the day? So Dave, what do you tell folks that you're coaching in terms of moving the body throughout the day? What's kind of your spiel in that department?
Well, there's been a lot of research in the last few years on this subject, and in my opinion, it's been really liberating, because in the 90s, it was fairly commonly taught and thought that the average person needed 20 minutes of exercise 3 times a week. A lot of research has been done on how much exercise we actually need and whether it all has to be done at the same time. And the good news is that what really matters is how active we were throughout the week. So you don't have to get all your exercise at one time. If you're not going to become a gym rat and you're just a person who wants to become more active, it actually really does make a difference if you simply take the stairs instead of the elevator. It adds up. If you park your car at the far end of the parking lot and walk into the mall, it adds up. If you walk your dog every morning and maybe go a little bit longer, that actually matters. Now, there is a number that we're all shooting for, and that number is 5 hours. If you can get 5 hours of activity in the course of the week, research has shown that you can have a very good level of fitness. And what I mean by very good level of fitness is that you can live a long, healthy life and avoid a lot of the cardiovascular problems that a lot of people have. Research on the blue zones, those 4 areas of the earth where people live unusually long, healthy lives. Loma Linda, California, Okinawa, Japan, a little mountain town in Greece, and an area of Russia are the 4. They have very, very different diets from each other, but the one thing they have in common, they're all very active. And they're not active in the gym. They're active on their little farms. They do a lot of walking. They ride bicycles. These are people that use their body to get themselves around their villages. And the simple activity of walking and climbing and hiking and walking their dogs and tending their animals is all that's needed for them to live over 100 years old. And so this is what I love about the move your body every day. Now, the thing about every day, we live in a society where it's very easy to be sedentary. So what you don't want to do is end up sitting at your desk as a computer programmer, for example, all day, then going home and sitting in front of the television all night. You do need to do this daily. So if you can work in some mobility in the morning, or maybe that's when you hit the gym or whatever, doing it every single day helps, because every hour you're sitting is working against you, shortening your hip flexors, making you less flexible. Your heart is not working. You're not getting any cardio out of it. And so you're trying to work in activity every single day, which does not mean you have to be a gym rat every single day. It's, again, all this simple stuff, and everything adds up. So you're simply trying to be active every day, even if it's as simple as taking a walk at lunch. So it's a matter of just simply thinking through, how can you be more active? What are the simple things you can do to make sure you're moving every single day? And sitting is the devil. So generally speaking, you want to get up from your desk every now and then. I love how a lot of this new wearable technology, like Apple Watches, etc., has little things in there reminding you, hey, it's time to stand up. This is great stuff. I mean, don't take that for granted. These little cues to move, to take the stairs, to walk more. All this stuff matters. It all adds up.
Oh, yeah. And the competitive aspect of anybody who has a little bit of a competitive mind is going to look at that and be like, I only have how many steps today? I'm going to do more. So tapping into that inner competitor is great too.
Yeah, absolutely. It matters for me. I do like to check how many. I've got mine set at 8,000 steps. I know a lot of people go for 10,000. I also exercise, and so 8,000 works for me. If I do 8,000 steps and also do some strength exercising or mobility in the morning, I feel like I've had a good day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, that's awesome. And plus also, something to consider for folks who are listening in and they're thinking, oh my gosh, I don't know if I could move my body every day. Well, you know what? There's folks that you can have to help you, like buddies for going on a walk, or buddies to work out with, or buddies to do whatever hobby it is that you like in terms of your movement. Maybe you got a dance partner, something of that nature. I love to always recommend that kind of thing too.
Yeah, I love that. And also, you're already moving every day. You've got to at least go to work. Generally, most people go out, and so don't underestimate what I'm saying with just working this into your existing day. What if you parked at a parking lot that was a mile from your office, and you walked to your office, and so you're adding 1 mile in the morning and 1 mile in the afternoon? That would be an awesome little simple health habit. Or maybe your office has a walking trail nearby, or just a nice walk of any sort that you can do during lunch. So this does not have to be difficult.
Absolutely. Working it in when you can. Makes sense. So your 6th principle is talking about observing a simple supplement strategy. And with supplements, this is a very, very popular topic in my office. What should I be on? How many things should I be taking? And I love that you highlight simple here, because I think so many people are taking handfuls of vitamins or supplements and they have no idea what for, and they don't really grab the concept that taking multiple supplements is hard on your kidneys. It's hard on your body, and it also confuses your body. You want to make sure that you've got a good supplement plan, something that's kind of tailored to what you're working on in that moment. So for a protocol or for your general supportive stuff. So you've got a really cool product that I am definitely interested in, the pounds and inches drops. Tell us a little bit about that, or if you want to go into, kind of what your supplement strategy recommendation is for folks, and then go into the pound and inches drops.
That sounds good. Let me work my way into the pounds and inches drops.
Perfect.
So one of the things that modern science has afforded us is the easy ability to test our blood for nutritional deficiencies. This is an amazing thing. It's getting less and less expensive. The first time I did it, I think it was $600. You can now get a really good test for under $100. And ideally, what you want to do, because this is a big question, ideally it should be based on your blood work. There's just nothing like having a nutritional panel to find out exactly what you are deficient in. Now, because there's been so many of these by so many companies, we do have a really good feel for what most Americans are deficient in. And the top things are vitamin D, and about 76% of Americans, for example, are deficient in vitamin D. Most people are deficient in zinc. They're deficient in chromium. Most people are not getting enough omegas. And omegas is a highly misunderstood supplement. A lot of people take fish oil. I got to tell you, I've been blown away by my discussions regarding this with Dr. Jeff Matheson, the great pain management physician from Canada, who's helped 17,000 physicians improve their pain management with their clients. And he highly advises getting your omegas from plants. I'm taking his product. It's called Pure Form Omegas. I highly recommend that. So omegas is one that we're deficient. So when I say a simple supplement strategy, it ought to be based on what you're deficient in. If you don't feel like getting a test done, then just go with the basics. A simple multivitamin and minerals. Most of us have mineral deficiencies. We have a top-selling product on Amazon called Mimi's Miracle Minerals. And by the way, any of these things I mentioned, on our website, we've set up a coupon code for Dr. Krause, DRKRAUSE, where you can save 10% as a listener of the show. So if you're interested in any of these things, make sure and use that code to save some money. But starting with those things you're likely deficient in is the starting place. And those are typically those vitamins I talked about and minerals. Those are the basic building blocks of our cells. And so those are the most important things we need. From there, when I say a supplement strategy, if you're an athlete, you may want to do things like I do, like take a pre-workout. I love pre-workouts. I feel like I get a better workout. I love the pump. I love the feel of it. I love that it wakes me up. And so that's a performance-based supplement. Do you need a pre-workout? Absolutely not. But if you're going to hit the gym and hit it hard, it can make you feel better. Creatine is one of the most tested supplements on the planet and absolutely will help you develop and maintain muscle mass. Even some of the studies done on sedentary hospital patients prove that they maintain their muscle mass better if given creatine. So creatine is a very inexpensive supplement that you can buy readily anywhere, and is one that you really ought to look into if you're doing resistance training. So those are a couple of ideas on performance type supplements. Then there's age and gender specific things. For example, many women have been diagnosed with low iron. Well, if that's the case, that's critical that you make sure and get enough iron. Magnesium is something that many people are deficient in. But magnesium is an interesting one. I highly recommend that you get a spray and that you spray it on your thighs, believe it or not. As you know, if you drink or eat magnesium, it has a laxative effect. And that can be really a bad thing, depending on what you have going on in the next hour or two. Plus, magnesium interacts negatively with zinc. As a matter of fact, studies show that if you take magnesium and zinc together in a multivitamin, they cancel each other out. And so you might as well not even take a multivitamin that has magnesium and zinc in the same pill. So those are some of the biggies, and a couple of ideas on how to get them. So do you have any questions or comments on that before I jump into the pounds and inches drops?
No, I think you covered that pretty good. Yeah, jump into the pounds and inches drop, because I totally dropped that on people, and now they're like, I want to know about that.
Well, we started selling this product in 2009. It was actually the first supplement that I sold, and it became the top-selling product of its type in America within 6 months. We just blew up with this product. I don't know why. It was just kind of a perfect storm. People loved it and had good success with it, which is always great. And we're now on iteration 5 of the formula. There's several ingredients, including adaptogens in the product, but the main product that does the magic is a patented product called Chromium GTF. Now, chromium is a basic mineral we all need. The problem is it's unstable. We get it from our diet, and we get it mostly from green leafy vegetables, which most people don't get enough of. But even when we do, we can't store it. It's not like vitamin B12. I don't know if you're aware, but you could take a month's worth of vitamin B12 right now, and your body will store it and dispense it over the next month. It's kind of a cool thing. It can't do that with chromium. You got to eat it every day, or you simply don't have it. And studies have shown that when you constantly keep chromium in your system, that there's 3 major things that happen. One of them being weight loss, which is really cool. The other one being blood sugar management, that your blood sugar will manage itself better. And the other is reduced cholesterol levels. So those are 3 pretty big benefits. So we formulated pounds and inches drops with a clinical dose of Chromium GTF. That's 1,000 micrograms. And the reason I say clinical dose is because in human clinical studies where people actually got the weight loss, the reduced cholesterol, and the improved blood sugar management, that was the amount they took in the studies. And so that's the amount we put in the product. And so if you take a serving of pounds and inches drops in the morning and at night, those are benefits you can expect to achieve. So then you do that in conjunction with these principles we're talking about: not drinking calories, time-restricted feeding, eat your food slowly and mindfully, the hand rules, fitness, and then the last one we'll talk about here in a minute. This is a great diet, and I say diet in air quotes because it's not really a diet. This is a long-term, sustainable strategy where you lose weight and then keep it off. Because this is the problem with diets, right, is we go on a diet, and then later we're supposed to go off the diet, but off the diet to what, right? So that's why I like these principles, because they're not a diet. They're simply principles you live by that will get you more fit, help you to lose the weight, and generally improve your life, your sleep, in every way, and they're sustainable.
It's what we need. It's absolutely what we need, besides jumping from every shiny, fancy, magical, touted diet in the universe. I love it.
Yeah. Now, I do want to – you and I talked a little bit before the show, and I mentioned how a lot of people put on weight in the winter and then go on a diet in the spring, and you kind of cringed, and most people do, right? Like you think, well, that's such a bad habit. But you know what? It's pretty normal. There was some really interesting research done in Australia. It seems like our body is designed in the winter to stock up more on food, that we have more cravings, and I don't know what it is, but maybe genetically we have more hunger and we eat more food in the winter. And what they did is they did a 2-year study, and they found out from their research that people tend to put on weight during the winter months and not quite lose it all during the summer. And so our bodies are fluctuating from winter to summer, and the way we get 40 pounds overweight is by gaining that weight in the winter and not quite getting it off in the summer. So if you gain 2 pounds a summer for 20 years, you are now 45 years old and 40 pounds overweight, right? This is a very common thing that's happening to a lot of people in first world countries right now.
Oh, yeah.
And so embracing that genetically you're just likely to put on weight during the winter, and understanding that in the spring, if all you do is take off any excess weight that you've put on in the winter, that could be working with a natural rhythm. And so, it's one of the things we teach is that, hey, maybe this weight loss craze of the new year isn't such a bad thing after all, as long as people actually stick to it and use it to fight against that natural tendency to put on weight in the winter.
I think that's a great way of thinking about it. I absolutely do. Thanks for mentioning that. Wow, Health Junkies. Dave gave us a lot of information on that podcast. You can find Dave online on Instagram at Dirobi, D-I-R-O-B-I Health, and you can also find him on Facebook. Now, if you are interested in finding the article that he was referring to today, I put the link in my show notes at drjkrausend.com or thehealthfixpodcast.com so you can read through all 7 of those principles Dave was talking about so you can embrace the undiet lifestyle and just be free from all those glitzy and glamoury diets that really don't always give results. Now, you can also check out Dave's website and his store where he has a supplement called Inches and Pounds Drops, which I found extremely helpful, and I'm loving it, and I think it's a great thing if you're listening to this podcast in the new year and trying to get yourself back on track. Hey, try it out. Head over to his website, Dirobi, DIROBI.com, and there you will find his supplements, a ton of great information. He also has a podcast as well, so you can listen to that information. And if you're interested, we have a code so that you can get 10% off of any of his products, and the code is Dr. Krause, so DRKRAUSE. All right, folks, you have survived another episode of The Health Fix. I'm your host, Dr. Janine Krause. Have a great day, whatever you are doing. Hey everybody, Dr. Janine Krause here. If you liked what you heard today, then head over to drjkrausend.com to find my free resources and information to know when I post something new that's juicy that you might want to check out. Plus, head over to where you get your podcasts and subscribe, and write a review to help get the word out about me and help others at the same time to find me. It really does help, and I really appreciate all of your reviews.